One of the more interesting things about how marijuana is being legalized in the United States is that it's pretty much being done completely at the state level, with each state enacting and implementing their own unique blend of rules and regulations. This means that if you're interested in operating within any given state's legal marijuana system, you really need to pay attention to all the news going on in your neck of the woods. But at the same time, you need to be following along with showcase states like Colorado and California, as they're providing a template that other states are looking at while crafting their own systems, to say nothing of the national and international scene. That's the philosophy behind our popular email newsletter, the MJ Today Media Newsfeed. Our crack team of newsreaders, and by that I mean myself and my indispensable assistant editor, Jahala Dudley, sift through piles and piles of headlines each day to suss out the most important and relevant industry stories, which we then organize state by state into the newsfeed email, which goes out 6 days a week. The feedback that we get is that the newsfeed is the easiest way around to catch up on all the important news, as your eye will softly and effortlessly parse the day's headlines based on location. Discover the wonders of the MJ Today Media Newsfeed yourself by opening up mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. That's mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, September 12th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 328 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day brings us out to Nevada, where on Sunday an opinion was released by the State Legislative Council Bureau, finding that nothing in Nevada law precludes businesses from offering space where customers can consume marijuana. The opinion was made after a request by State Senator Toked, who is a well-known supporter and proponent of legal marijuana reform. Segerblom told the Nevada Independent that the newly released findings should help give cover to local municipalities fearful of breaking state law by opening up the option for public consumption by private businesses. Swing over to the Independent for the full read on this one, which also has the full 6-page text of the Legislative Council Bureau's findings. Congratulations to my buddy Tom Angel for landing as a contributor over at Forbes after MassRoots has apparently frozen their news publishing efforts. Tom's first Forbes story picks up on a report issued at the end of last week by the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee urging the National Institute on Drug Abuse to coordinate with the Drug Enforcement Administration on better testing protocols for marijuana that include both cannabis seized from the illicit market as well as from products available from legal providers. The intent of the program, titled in the Senate's report as, quote, National Testing Program for Schedule I Marijuana-Derived Products, unquote, would be to better inform policymakers, public health officials, and law enforcement. As with nearly all of Tom's stories, this one's best digested in full. Swing over to Forbes and dive in. Our final top story of the day is a good piece over at weednews.co by activist Rick Thompson about the impact that a proposed shutdown of Michigan medical marijuana dispensaries would have on his state's patient population, who, by his count, number around 167,000 in terms of those getting their medicine from dispensaries. That's around 2/3 of the entire patient population at risk of losing their main source of medicine for potentially months, as state officials process a new round of license applications. The licensing board for the state's marijuana program is set to meet later this evening, so we'll report back on any relevant updates. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media, publishers of your favorite 2 podcasts in legal marijuana, as well as the aforementioned MJ Today Media Newsfeed. To stay caught up and in tune with all the important news that you need to know, handily organized by state, just subscribe over at mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. That's mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. All right, time for the blitz. Leafly has a good state-by-state roundup of all the current legislative and ballot initiative campaigns to further marijuana policy reform. With 9 states having some kind of campaign in motion, it means there's a lot of near-field potential for new markets and patient populations to come along. Another good one to read in full. The 5-member Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission is meeting today for the first time to start working on figuring out how to best implement their state's adult use program, and will discuss, among other things, the hiring of an interim executive director and the filling of other job openings. In full disclosure on this one, our very own Shalene Title, longtime regular on our weekly podcast Marijuana Today, is one of the 5 members of the commission. Colorado-based company American just announced that it has raised $10 million in funding to start construction on a 1 million square foot facility in Freetown, Massachusetts to grow and process legal marijuana products. The first phase of the build-out will include a 130,000 square foot greenhouse and research space that American will lease out to state-licensed marijuana companies. Bengzinga has a good story up looking at some of the details behind MassRoots' $12 million acquisition of CannaRegs, an online service-based company that provides a searchable and real-time database of state and federal cannabis-related laws. With MassRoots seemingly struggling to gain a solid footing in terms of revenue generation, this is a good one to open up and digest in full. As marijuana legalization ripples out over the nation and the stigma of cannabis use continues to fall away, it's not a bad idea to remember that there remain plenty of pockets of resistance to the idea that marijuana isn't really such a big deal. A story in Mary Jane highlights one of those pockets of resistance as Organibrands, a company with multiple legal cannabis brands under its corporate umbrella, has struggled to find nonprofit organizations to donate money to. The list of candidates that have turned away legitimate cannabis dollar donations include the Children's Hospital Foundation, the American Cancer Society, and the Wounded Warriors Project. Earlier in the year, I reported on the case of Washington, D.C.-based activist and general political rabble-rouser Adam Eidinger, who was arrested during a smoke-in protest held on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol in April. Eidinger was set to go before a D.C. Superior Court yesterday to argue his case, but was told after the government said it wasn't prepared to move forward that he was free to go. His case was dismissed without prejudice, which gives the city attorney general a 12-month window to retry him. And finally for today, Marijuana Business Daily's Chart of the Week series continues to draw from a survey they gave their readers asking about the demographic makeup of the marijuana industry, this time showing the breakdown in the percentage of marijuana businesses owned and started by people of various racial buckets. According to their findings, 81% of marijuana businesses reported were led or founded by white people, 5.7% by Hispanic or Latino entrepreneurs, 4.3% by African Americans, 2.4% by Asian entrepreneurs, and 6.7% by people who categorize themselves as, quote, other, giving an aggregate non-white total of 19%. Marijuana Business Daily has some good content in addition to the chart that's worth the click over. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.